Gohan fighting Cell was the epitome of everything Dragon Ball. We saw Goku grow from a little boy into a great man. However, this man reached his supposed limit and he could not surpass his Super Saiyan form in order to get to Super Saiyan 2. His son, Gohan, essentially became his successor in the fight against Cell. Here's how this fight changed the story dynamic of the Dragon Ball franchise for the better, and also worse. The great thing about this fight is the natural progression of strength and the escalation of power. Though we had seen the Super Saiyan form before, we now understood that there was something beyond it, and it seemed like this would be the final battle. Perfect Cell had every single move that all of Goku's foes had, and he also stole all of Goku's moves as well. Gohan was tasked by his father to surpass Cell, thereby symbolically surpassing Goku in every way imaginable. Gohan was now better than his father, and the Dragon Ball series as a whole could finally pass the torch to the younger generation because, as Goku stated, "I won't always be around to save the world. You're going to have to fight from now on." And we thought for a second that Gohan would be the main focus of the series from that point onward. However, after Gohan defeated Cell, Goku came back and basically refuted his previous statement, knowing that Earth will always need him as its protector. Let's address the issue of Gohan supposedly becoming the main character of the series. It was actually never written that way. Toriyama never stated that he was going to make Gohan the main character. Sure, we focused on Gohan for a while, but Goku was always meant to be the hero of this story. Gohan vs Cell was probably my favorite fight in Dragon Ball, at least when talking about the impact it had on the plot, not necessarily the choreography of the fight itself. It's because of this fight that it seemed like the series would end, but now that we have Dragon Ball Super, we can safely say that this show will only end when it no longer makes money. But here's the problem with that. The Android arc was already pushing the believability of the series since Dr. Gero created these seemingly limitlessly powerful machines, and Cell traveling through time didn't help the story either. I think we all agreed that this was a great way to end the show. I'm sorry to say, but Goku simply could not have defeated Cell at that time in the show. It was Gohan's job to finally put an end to the shenanigans of the androids, and ultimately he granted the world peace for a good amount of time. The show was over, at least for me at this point. The Buu saga was a little repetitive, and it was way too wacky with Goten and Trunks having their Super Saiyan forms without going through any sort of crucible. With Dragon Ball Super giving Goku the power of the gods, there was not much left except for him to keep gaining new forms and new power levels. The Cell fight could have been a turning point into a new story, but it didn't happen. Sure, I love Dragon Ball, and I have seen everything up through the Super anime, and I even read the manga through the Moro arc. However, the show lost its edge after the Gohan and Cell fight. To analyze the fight a little, Cell wasn't a monster. He was tactical and calculating. He loved to fight against a strong opponent, but he didn't quite have the same mindset of a fair fight like Goku did. Gohan's passion for his family and his desire to protect his home and life was the kickstart that he needed to defeat this seemingly unbeatable foe. He was very reluctant to fight because he didn't like hurting other people. This was the difference between him and Goku. Gohan understood that war is a terrible thing. Humans are precious, and fighting was always supposed to be a last resort. On the other hand, Goku knew that sometimes you had to fight, but he was more simplistic. You see, Gohan and Goku both enjoyed the fighting a little too much when they got going. In Dragon Ball Super, Piccolo clearly stated that Gohan and his father became too self-indulgent in their combat, and this ultimately led to them not finishing the fight, toying with their enemies. If Gohan would have just finished Cell off, then he would not have let Goku die. And if Goku would have just defeated Frieza completely the first time, then Frieza never would have come to Earth. There was a positive change in Dragon Ball after Gohan beat Cell, but the negative aspect was that Gohan took a back seat to the action from then on. To summarize, Gohan vs Cell was never meant to be the end for Dragon Ball, but it changed a lot of things about the show. It gave us more insight into Gohan's character, but it pushed him to the back of the line in terms of power escalation for a while. The fight also gave us a supposed climax to Goku's journey, but it was soon changed to demonstrate that Goku could never leave the spotlight. Finally, a lot of people think of this fight as their favorite, and this arc was the culmination of the entire series, seemingly a good place to end it all. Ultimately, Gohan vs Cell was a series-altering fight, but it left a lot of fans stuck, never truly seeing something surpassing that moment. Dragon Ball was never the same again.